Well, hello once again, Ryan and Janine from Better Living Concepts here. We are in the middle of David Wolfe's book, The Sunfood Diet Success System. You've landed here in our book club series, and we're smack dab in the middle of this book. We're super excited about it. Every week it comes packed with all kinds of new information, things that we haven't thought about, different ways of thinking about things. And so this particular week, we're excited about because it's, like I said, just different way of thinking about things. Lesson 22 is on breathing. It calls it Pranayama. And so without further ado, let's jump right into the reading, and then we'll be back with some comments.
Okay.
All right. Lesson 22, breathing, Pranayama. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Genesis 2:7. For the rhythm of thy breath is the key of knowledge which doth reveal the holy law. The Essene Gospel of Peace, Book 1. I have provided you thus far with a detailed treatise on how to lighten the diet to liberate more energy for achievement. But before I go further, let me tell you, do not be deceived. Little energy comes from food. Stimulation comes from food. The digestion of food takes energy away from the body. Energy comes first from the spirit and then primarily from the air, from oxygen, and from a lack of obstructions in the body. A lack of oxygen makes people weak, and food is what they turn to for strength, stimulation. For more energy, start breathing. All scientific considerations aside, air contains some life principle, or prana, that keeps the human body functioning. Prana is not oxygen, but etherealized monoatomic elements, or something even more exotic. These etherealized elements are spirally unzipped out of the air and into our bodies by the act of breathing. Isn't that fascinating? When you sleep, you automatically breathe, but you do not automatically eat. One can live for weeks without eating, for days without drinking, but only fleeting minutes without breathing. Yet, breathing is the most neglected science in the health field. All other organs operate to keep the lungs functioning. The lungs, in turn, keep the internal organs healthy by pushing and squeezing them, allowing the fluids to move around within and through them. Every breath contains more air by weight than would be eaten at a typical meal, and we are taking thousands of breaths a day. One is just as poisoned by toxic air as by toxic food. The power of breath is fourfold. First and foremost, the breath controls the energy level in the body. We know that everything is energy. Matter is just a form of frozen energy. The more oxygen and etherealized matter available to your cells, the more energy you have to accomplish your goals, and the less food you desire. Many people overeat because they are not breathing deeply. If you feel hungry, sick, tired, or worn out, a good way for you to quickly rejuvenate yourself is to go outside and take 30 deep diaphragmatic breaths. Second is the fact that the lungs play a major role in the human immune system. The lungs are the pump for the lymph system. There is 4 times as much lymph fluid in the body as blood. Lymph bathes every cell of the body. As long as the lymph is kept clean and pumping through the body in an orderly fashion by daily deep breathing, the immune system will become incredibly strong. Deep breathing alkalizes the body by removing carbonic acid, or dissolved carbon dioxide, from the blood and lymph. Third, controlling the breath allows you to begin to also control the so-called autonomic or automatic functions of the body, i.e. the heart rate, blood flow, body temperature, etc. The yogis of India have long known that every state of the mind and body is associated with a corresponding respiration pattern. Long, slow breaths slow the heart. That is why Erit called the heart a valve, not a pump. Deep breathing warms you up. If you feel cold by eating raw foods, then take deep breaths to warm your body. Take deep breaths to increase your inner fire energy. Fourth, oxygen eliminates pain. Pain in the body is always associated with the lack of oxygen in that area. Athletes who strain a muscle often continue to play, in fact prefer to play, because by staying active the strained muscle remains oxygenated and will be less painful. One can find relief from backaches and sore muscles by deep breathing. It is the control we exert over our own breath that most distinguishes humans from other primates. The primary mammal groups that can control their breath are those with aquatic characteristics such as the dolphin, the hippo, the seal, the whale, and even the elephant. Longevity is associated with slowing the breath. Those species that breathe very slowly live the longest. The giant tortoise breathes only 4 times a minute. Humans, in comparison, breathe 18 times a minute, and a restless monkey 32 times a minute. While breathing in through your nose, hold your mouth lightly closed and leave your tongue comfortably pressed to the roof of your mouth. Ideas and inspiration come to us by breathing through the nose. Experiment with making your breathing so slow that it would not disturb a feather on your nose. Exhaling is more important than inhaling. To fully help detoxify the body, blow out all the air from the bottom of the lungs, then hold your breath. The vacuum produced in the lungs will exert a drawing force that pulls poisons from the blood into the lungs for elimination. A rarely discussed reason why people become addicted to smoking cigarettes derives from the breath control that smoking entails. When someone smokes a cigarette, they fall into a habitual breathing pattern that fundamentally alters their state and energy level until they feel relaxed. Practicing deep breathing helps overcome addictions to smoking. By breathing deeper and more rhythmically, you become calmer and can concentrate and work better. Slow, deep, diaphragmatic breathing was the first health discipline I really practiced consistently for years. I credit late-night deep breathing exercises with improving my performance in college when I was studying engineering. I often would need an additional 2 extra hours every night to do work, so at midnight I would go outside and do at least 10 deep diaphragmatic breaths in the 1:4:2 ratio described on the next page. From this practice, my mind would clear and my energy would soar. We are breathing all night as we sleep, and the exhaled carbon dioxide accumulates in stuffy homes. Keep your home windows open as much as possible, especially at night, to allow fresh oxygen to continuously revitalize you. Consider bringing a plethora of houseplants into your bedroom and home to provide you with fresh oxygen. Breathing is our most vital experience. Be silent. Breathe deep. Silence is power. Silence is an art. Long life is a matter of deep rhythmic breathing and keeping extremely quiet. Be silent, and you allow your conscious, doubting, warring mind to listen. The best performers have the calmest breathing and quietest minds during the moment of truth. Action steps for breathing, pranayama. Number 1. In my opinion, the best pattern for deep diaphragmatic breathing, which I have used daily since 19, is the following 1:4:2 ratio. Breathe in through the nose for a multiple of 1 count. The nose simultaneously filters and humidifies the air we breathe. The cribriform plate above the septum in the nose also regulates the temperature of the air entering the lungs. Hold that breath for a multiple of 4 counts. This fully oxygenates and stimulates the body. Breathe out through the mouth for a multiple of 2 counts. The out breath releases toxins. An example of this breathing ratio: breathe in for 6 seconds, hold that breath for 24 seconds, breathe out for 12 seconds. Number 2. I have also had much success with the following 1-1-1-1 yogic breath ratio. Breathe in through the nose for a multiple of 1 count, hold that breath for a multiple of 1 count, breathe out through the mouth for a multiple of 1 count, hold the lungs empty for a multiple of 1 count. This creates a vacuum suction that draws toxins out of the tissues on the following inhalation. An example of this breathing ratio: breathe in for 6 seconds, Hold that breath for 6 seconds. Breathe out for 6 seconds. Hold the lungs empty for 6 seconds. Number 3. Practice 30 deep diaphragmatic breaths each day following either of these patterns or both. Tune your lungs to these patterns. Initially, some dizziness and lightheadedness may be experienced by breathing in this fashion as the brain becomes fully oxygenated. But this phenomena will pass as the body grows accustomed to deep breathing practices. The end. All right, another short but sweet reading. Very good, very packed. What's your takeaway?
Air. Yeah, sun is important. Air, breathing is calming.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what stuck with me the most, right?
Yeah.
How calming it is to the body and how important that is.
Yeah. I remember doing a short little video that we did for our channel. I mean, it was probably like a 7, 8 minute, whatever. And we did that. We got home that day from a long, sort of stressful day at work, and we just took a minute.
Oh, that's right.
We just took a minute. You know what? Let's just breathe.
Yes.
And so I did some breathing
Yes,
exercises,
that's
and
right.
I quite literally felt like 10 times less stress
Yeah.
and relaxed after that.
Gotta remember to do it.
Yeah.
I know
And
I need to.
That took us like 30 seconds to do that. On that
Yeah.
day. But anyway.
It's interesting that he starts out this chapter or this lesson with Genesis 2:7 that that God forms man out of the dust of the ground and then he breathes into his nostrils the breath of life.
Yes.
So interesting way to start this chapter.
Yes. Breath, breathing, inspiration.
The rhythm of thy breath is the key of knowledge, which doth reveal the holy law. Yeah, a seen gospel of peace.
Yeah, that's good too. Yeah. Air contains some life principle, or the prana. That's what the prana is, the life principle, right?
Mm-hmm.
That keeps the human body functioning. Prana is not oxygen, but etherealized monoatomic elements, or something even more exotic. That right there, to me, is just sort of mind-blowing.
Yeah.
You know, just the concept that you can live off air for quite some time.
Yeah.
You know, that you can actually gain nutrients. You can actually bring stuff into your body that is beneficial. It's not just the oxygen,
Yes.
right? And then there's that process of exhaling, which is the releasing of the toxins. And based on how you breathe, in certain patterns, if you're intentional about it, you can actually release more toxins than just your average breathing.
So the breathing is nourishing.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was important.
Absolutely. So he's got essentially four. The power of breath is fourfold. So 4 concepts that he talks about. Every breath contains more air by weight than would be eaten by a typical meal, and we are taking thousands of breaths a day. One is just as poisoned by toxic air as by toxic food.
That's very important.
Yeah, so very important to consider not only your breathing, but is the air that you're taking in, how pure is it, right? And so are there ways that that you can put yourself in positions of more pure air? So that's something to consider as well. So the first and foremost, the breath controls the energy level of the body.
Yeah, if you feel hungry, sick, or tired, a good way for you to quickly rejuvenate yourself is to go outside and take 30 deep diaphragmatic breaths.
Yes.
Second is that your lungs play a major role in your immune system.
Yep. That the lungs are the pump for the lymph system.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And very important.
Yeah.
Removing carbonic and
Carbonic acid.
Yeah, from the blood and lymph.
Yeah.
Third, controlling the breath allows you to begin to control the so-called automatic functions of the body: heart rate, blood flow, body temperature.
So that gives us the ability when we do rhythmic breathing or patterns of breathing, we can actually control those systems.
Yeah.
And a lot of us don't think about it. It's
No.
just, we just go about our day. It's second nature. We breathe and away you go. But when you're intentional, you can make some positive changes.
Man, this is so big, right? It's so huge. I mean, we just came through sunshine, which is so huge. And this is enormous.
Yeah.
So
really
important.
is. And then fourth is oxygen eliminates pain.
Yeah. So
I've not thought about that before. It makes sense, but I've never really thought about it like that. Pain in the body is always associated with a lack of oxygen in that area.
Yes.
And then, of course, he talks about athletes. And
interesting that the control that we exhibit distinguishes humans from other primates. That was interesting. Longevity is associated with slowing the breath. The species that breathe very slowly live the longest.
that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. And then he gives you these different exercises, which were great. And then he talks about late night breathing, helping him in college, study, refreshing himself. And then talks about cigarette smoking. I thought that was interesting. That one of the reasons that people become addicted to smoking is that it alters their state and they feel relaxed. Alters that breathing state. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then keep your windows open, which we do at night.
Yeah. We've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
But yeah. And and I think possibly so many people don't do that. But yeah, that's a great thing to do.
Yes. Okay, breathing is the most vital experience. Be silent, breathe deep, so the whole silence there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exhaling is more important than inhaling. I thought that was pretty fascinating. So, all right. Pretty, again, another short chapter, but well worth digging into a little deeper. And we certainly encourage you to do your own digging on these as well. This really just kind of scratches the surface. So really encourage you to go out and find, some deep dive articles or courses or training on these things and begin to implement them in your life as well.
Yeah.
We believe that you'll find some significant changes that will be significant.
Yes. And do the exercises at the end of this chapter.
And definitely do the exercises.
We will definitely try to.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So until next time, we are moving into lesson 23, the physiology of excellence. And so I'm looking forward to that one. And until then,
Here's to your health, doing well.
Take care.